Hey there, strangers. It's time for a 2 p.m. PST Twitch stream. I'm your host, Strange Virgin, and we are getting ourselves back into some coding today. Today will be a short stream. Um, won't be able to do the full 4 hours, I imagine. Uh, my landlord's having a party, so he's starting it at 4 o'clock, so the likelihood of me being able to keep um, a relatively um, steady stream where I can actually talk with you without any kind of interruptions downstairs is probably not going to happen. So, um, okay, so let's go ahead and get this live here. Okay, so last we left off with our development. Um, I was encountering some difficulties with um, Krishkov's algorithm potentially blocking off um, spawn points um, for the enemy cities. So what I need to figure out on um, what I need to figure out is find the neighbors next to the cities in question, um, and then um, designate those spots for the spawn point. Now the randomization needs to be entailed. I mean, it's going to be a 50-50 either way. Um, no, don't really need to worry about, you know, oh, hey, I need to choose one over the other kind of aspect. No, don't need to worry about that too much. Um, but it still needs to, I still need to make sure that that occurs so I don't have any um, breakage down the line when I do eventually get agents established and allow them to um, maneuver around the map. Because once an enemy agent comes in contact with a human agent, then I'm going to want to have that collision happen between them, and the path for the enemy agent changes from hunting down the human to trying to get back to the spawn point. So, um, can the humans stop this? Oh, yes, they can. Is it going to be difficult for them to? Yes. Um, because not only are they going to be facing off against trying to path in a certain path correctly to try to um, stop the enemy from getting back to their city, um, but they will also have to um, you know the catch up to them and stop them in some way. Um, Now I'm not sure um, how I want to implement the hunter for the humans. How they'll be able to stop um, um, how they'll be able to stop the monsters. I still have to kind of figure that part out, and that's going to be kind of dependent on making sure everything's kind of balanced. So there's going to be a lot of balancing that I'm going to need to try to figure out. Now, if anyone has any kind of ideas as to that balance when it comes down, um, when it gets to that point where I'm going to be like looking for the balance, then, or if there's maybe sections of code that you think, oh, hey, Jim, you can probably do it a little bit better if you do it this way, then please let me know. Because, um, I'm still going to be, you know, I'm only using the knowledge that I've gleaned up to this point, which isn't much, folks. Okay. Um, like I've said before, I graduated college, and I've only done maybe a year and a half in professional development. So I'm still, um, there's still room for growth. Let me just say that. So, hmm. All right, so we got some work ahead of us on this. So, okay. As you could probably tell, um, there is quite a few errors being shown here. Um, you know, 16 in fact, and this was all about trying to figure out how to um, get the location in uh, get that enemy location and then figuring out how to get the neighbors around said position. So, um, now when I was working on this a little bit, hmm, not sure why it keeps on trying to open up the two separate windows, but there's nothing here that um, I mean, I could open this up for both, but I don't really need it. Not sure why it opens up to, but whatever. Um, I can figure it. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. Now one of the downsides of this is that the errors that I'm seeing here doesn't really translate back to Visual Studio Code, but that's okay. It gives me the line numbers of where the errors are in Unity, so it gives me a sense of where the problems are, which is right here. Now, there was thought line of trying to set up the spawn points, somewhere up in here. Within the whole, PopTick neighborhood, neighbor, checking if it's a wall kind of aspect and all that jazz. But the problem with this is that there's a lot of the problem with this particular session is the fact that it's combining different sets and the like, and and you got to kind of be careful with kind of breaking the algorithm in a sense with trying to force a particular tile one way or another. Now, would I would it be nice if I could arrange it in such a way where it if it like finds the random tile to automatically set it up as just set it up as the spawn point? Sure. The problem with the one of the problems with this whole search is that I would have to I would literally have to kind of check to see if the check which one of if the neighbor is an enemy city, and if I mean, I probably could still do it. One of the reasons why I'm really kind of debating this right at the moment is I really don't want to do another for loop if I don't have to. And I'm afraid that if I go through the entire process of trying to find the I go through the entire process for Kushkov's algorithm. Okay, that's quite a bit of for loops here. I mean, we're looking at a do while here. Okay, multiple different for loops here. Okay, and then one last do while to finish off the entire process. Okay, there's already several loops already going for just making the maze. Okay. Um, so, um, is there a better method of doing this? Probably, but I'm not sure. If someone has maybe some method that could cut down on my code in some fashion or another, um, I upload this to my um, GitHub page, so feel free to check it out, see what you think, and if necessary, go to my Discord page and say, hey Jim, instead of doing it this way, you might want to try doing it this other method, and that might cut down on your overhead a little bit. Okay, I'm trying to make this as clean as I possibly can, without so that I can eventually make this into a mobile game. And PC game doesn't really matter, okay, because um, my game is going to be small when when compared with some of the AAA titles. So um, so I'm not really that worried about a PC game. Okay, what I am worried about is mobile. Making sure that I'm keeping it um, relatively small so people don't have a large download, and um, the processing doesn't completely destroy their phones. Not that it's not that this game is going to do that kind of aspect. I don't, or at least I'm trying not to have that happen. So, um, so like I said, if you have ideas or whatnot, or um, constructive criticism, um, a process that could speed up this without destroying the code in some fashion or another, let me know. Okay, I'm not one to go, oh my God, what are you doing? Um, but at the same time, you know, um, I still need to feel like I've accomplished something. Okay. Um, so if hmm, so here's the thing. So here we're checking to see whether or not the key being popped out from in maze is equal to the neighbor of the wall, meaning um, here, let me bring up that one website here so I can kind of talk about the um, what I'm kind of getting at here. So 1 second while I bring this up. Um, so I use this kind of website to kind of give a visual of what I'm trying to implement. So So as I discuss what I'm working on, I can visually show you uh, the objectives. So just takes a little bit of time for the browser to pop up with the stream going at the same time. All right, let's go ahead and get that going there. All right. So, say we have our wall. Okay, that just got popped out, and we want to check to see, and for Kushkal's algorithm, you're checking to see if there's any, um, say like you have different sets here, okay, and you pop out that center point, and it's going around checking to see whether or not the neighbors are um, part of the the multiple different sets. All right. So now, if one of these sets is an enemy city, then I could, um, seeing that I only need one spawn point, I could say if the spawn point for this particular enemy city is null, then this automatically becomes not a wall, opens it up, and um, sets the spawn point for it, like right then and there. I could do that. Hmm. The problem with that is that there's going to be a lot of checks that kind of goes along with that, though. There'd be a lot more if statements in there, and I don't know uh, if that's going to be a good choice or not. Hmm. Well, first off, I need to make sure that the check key equals pop neighbor, so it has to be inside this if statement. Um, and it can be before this to hmm. Problem is that we're looking at hex tile keys. Setting a breakpoint. So now the spawn locations I've set as tiles. Hmm. Do I really need to set them as tiles though? Because technically they aren't. No, they aren't. They aren't physical tiles. They're more, game objects than anything else. Um, so let's go ahead and change these. Hmm. Now the hex tile itself might need um, further construction. There might need to be a little bit more added into it for it to kind of work for me in this particular instance. Um, hmm. Okay. I need to be able to figure out. Hmm. Yeah. So if the wait, I can actually use this to my advantage because I'm already setting um, the village name. So if I can come on down here, and let's see. So what I want to do is I'm going to do another one here. So trying to let me try to describe what's going on here, or what my thought process here is. So we've just confirmed that the key of the popped neighbor is equal to what is contained within that particular set. Now, I've already set that the enemy cities and the human city is um, a part of their own unique sets right at the very beginning. Um, so, and Kushkal's algorithm, um, if it sees one of the cities as a potential for um, um, if it sees a connection. Oh, I'm sorry. Um, Trying to articulate this a little bit. So much kind of going all at once here. Um, the if we've determined that the pop neighbor um, is a part of a set. If that particular set is one of the enemy cities or the human city, then we know that the wall, or the popped wall in this case, has the potential of being a spawn point. Um, Now, um, if the um, when it comes to the human spawn points, then it's going to be a little bit, it's going to be a little tricky because the um, because the potential spawn points could um, is more, but the enemy spawn points will always remain the same. Um, like for example, let me bring up this little website here. So say we have our enemy city right here, right? And we have the 2 points that come out from it as potential spawn points. Okay. If one of them is a wall, okay, then the other is going to just keep on spawning and spawning and spawning. Okay. If for some unknown reason the this spot becomes available, like for some reason the humans open it up, okay, um, I'm still not going to allow for that to be a spawn point for the enemy. Okay, the enemy will just keep on spawning at this particular location, and um, no matter if the no matter what the humans try to do, they will always break anything that happens here at this particular point. If humans try to build a barrier there, it will break each and every single time. I'm not going to allow for the humans to uh, stop the spawning. Okay, they put a barrier there, it destroys the barrier. And whenever a monster will spawn there, it'll break the barrier, and um, or at least that's my thought mind. Now, the humans could set up barriers all the way around set spawn point. Those barriers aren't going to last very long, but because the spawn point will continuously spawn monsters there, and um, I will allow for um, stacking of of enemy agents, and they will constantly, you know, uh, work on destroying the barriers. So um, I would, it would be very. I mean, if someone wants to, when this does become, when it eventually does become alpha and a beta release, if someone can get to that point and test that out, um, then that would be a very interesting challenge. I'd like to see someone actually do that. See if how much it might break the game. Um, but I will with the um, with the amount of monsters that I suspect I'll be spawning out, and the likelihood of um, potential problems that might encounter, like, you know, do the do the humans run away whenever they see danger? Okay. Um, you know, could the humans actually build the barrier and still kind of keep it intact to be able to block any kind of um, any kind of enemy spawns? Now, um, you could probably try to put like hunters all the way around and try to stop the monsters from kind of popping on in, I guess. Um, so this is like speculation way down the line, if uh, right at the moment. So, um, is it possible? Probably, based off of everything that I can kind of suspect. Um, will it be easy? Probably not if I do it correctly. Um, but like I said, I would be. It would be interesting to see someone actually do it. So, um, I personally, I don't know if I would even be able to do it, but it would be interesting to see someone else try. Um, so when it gets to that point, then I'll I'll be looking forward to videos, you know, showing me what they did in order to actually get to actually try to do that. Um, but we'll, like I said, that's further down the road. Okay, so what we want to do now is um, we want to grab these real quick. I'm gonna come back down here because what I want to do is, let's see, what was it again? 8? No, it wasn't that. Or was it again? Shift Alt A. Okay, there we go. All right. Um, So what I want to do is okay, this is pulling out each key, but if I do if value get village equals Ghost City. So this is my thought line right at the moment. Okay, so oh, but wait, no, this doesn't really work very much. This pulls out the this pulls the each hex tile, or this doesn't pull out the hex tile, it just pulls out the key. So if I do something like I'm gonna probably pay for this later, so I'm gonna do a quick change here. Okay, so I'm going to, instead of pulling out the key, okay, so alright, so we're going to do this. Get hex key. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to do that now. And this. I'll go ahead and isolate the two so it it let's see, hold on. If the village is set to null, then I can skip the yeah, if it's null, then I can skip all this. So so let's go ahead and do that. And that Actually, not equal to null. Then we can do all this. Meaning that, I mean, we've already established all these city names. Okay, so if we verified that the get village for this particular tile actually has a village name to it, then we can kind of move on from that. What I want to do from that now is let's go ahead and get can I maybe take this out? I don't want to have to do multiple calls to get village, so can I do that and still work? Probably. So if I do that, oh, there we go. Okay, so um, so if we do human city tile right there, then we can go ahead and flag I want to be able to let's see. We want to do boolean human spawn city is equal to false. Then we're going to do this is equal to true. Okay, so I'm doing it this way because I don't know whether or not the if the wall remains as true, then it won't be a spawn point for the human city. But if it is, if I can, if it gets inside here, and I can basically say, okay, you know, if I do something like this here, if human spawn city, then we are going to go ahead and add we're going to add this particular hex tile into the you know the popped wall here. We're going to add that as a spawn point for the human city. So neighbor is as human city. So spawn point. Um, so now we've confirmed, hey, temp city is um, is one of the neighbors. Now what we're going to do here is that instead of doing these settings, which doesn't work, we're going to go ahead and change this into a check to see whether or not the spawn point has been set for that particular enemy city. So, for example, let's see. Um, right, actually, hold on. Yeah, I already have these here, so here the human spawn locations, I can add popped wall, for example. Um, yeah, because I just need the hex tile, and that's it. I don't really need anything else here, so we're good there. And now we're going to do goal. If this is equal to null, then we'll just go ahead and put you down as equal to check hex tile. So now we have a pointer to that particular hex tile set. So so I can basically copy this and put it for everything else. So there's that. We can now kind of put the respective names down here. There we go. So I think this is going to work. I think. So we're already kind of establishing a randomization here already. And let's see. Okay, so here's the other problem that I'm gonna have to kind of face on this. If if this part is true, then I want to kind of basically if I want these to be set as spawn points definitive, then I have to kind of break out of this loop here without it becoming a wall. So I need to be able to figure out how to. Okay. Okay, so the eye changes based off of the amount of sets, and it's only going to break out of this when it's completely done with all the different sets to them. So I need to basically force this to break out. So it's going to be kind of interesting here because now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have a while loop popped out. Okay, so oh wait, no, it's not equal to 5. So I want to make it equal to 5. What am I doing? Wait. Wait, hold on here. Oh, right. This part right here. Wait. Does it even get to? No, I don't think it does. So switch pop is less than or equal to 5. So 99 can work. Let's see. Forcing spawn point. Removing all other checks. Oh, not there. There. And, okay. So, now, I'm not forcing the spawn point here, like I said, because I need to figure out whether or not it's going to remain a wall or not. The likelihood of the human city being completely isolated seems like one of those like 1 in a billion kind of chances. So I don't know if I really need to. So here's what I'm gonna do. When it comes time to spawn in a human agent, I'm gonna check to make sure that the human spawn locations is still not equal to null. If it is, then then I'll have to kind of force, randomly select one of the neighbors and, nullify one of them and create the spawn point there. Yeah, so I don't see that as too much of a difficulty. So, but here, saying that we're like, oh hey, we found a tile that's next to, say the Goblin City, okay, and hey, the spawn location hasn't been set for the Goblin City yet. Then we can go, okay, we're going to absolutely make this place the spawn location. So we're going to stop all the neighbor checks because we don't need them, and we're going to we've already have the location set, so and we don't want it to remain a wall, so we're going to get out of this particular loop here. Now, let's see. What I'm going to do here is if okay. Oh wait. There. So now I had once had a professor kind of aspect talk about how don't use breaks out of loops. Okay. he saw it as like as kind of a poor design. Um, Personally, I don't see a problem with it. Um, Now, you could try to design particular checks inside like the while loop or the for loop or something like that to make sure that you can protect yourself against that kind of um, you can kind of put that kind of check in there so that it will kind of break out. I guess you might say naturally. Um, that's one of the positives for loops and the like. You can actually put in checks in there that can work in your benefit. So, I mean, you don't necessarily need to, forcefully break yourself out. Um, I've often found it as like, um, uh, if I've often found that if there's a point where you need to get out of a particular loop or whatnot almost immediately, like you really don't want to go through the rest of the code, um, then instead of having a like a ton of like if statements or something like that that does the checks and that it's going to be doing the checks anyway, just get out of it. So I'm of the mind of the opinion that breaks are okay. I mean, if there's someone that can show me, no, really, breaks are bad, then, or if there's like been some scientific studies, by computer scientists that actually show, that breaking out of for loops and while loops are somehow bad for the system in some fashion or another. I don't really know how or why. Then maybe post that link to me, give it to me in the Discord or something like that, um, because I wouldn't mind looking at that information and seeing what, um, how they came about to that conclusion and why. I mean, I've had my one professor say, no, 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 don't use it, but um, I don't know if that's um, the common mentality of it. So I saw it as my one professor's fairly focused determination, I guess you might say. I mean, I won't say that it was completely wrong, but to not use breaks whatsoever from loops, I don't know. I don't see a problem with it. Okay. Um, so let's make sure that we're good here because I've made quite a few changes to this and I want to make sure that I'm doing okay. Okay, so we're checking to see if the key is equal to the pop neighbor. Um, then we get the information from get village, which might be a null value. If it's not a null value, then we know that there's a value already set for it, which is, one of the names, which are, um, which is not that. Um, right. No, these are not the right ones to use. Let's go ahead and fix that here real quick. You always want to double check your code. Let's see. We'll do that. Goblin City and Demon City. There we go. Okay. So now we have if the strings equal each other, then we're going to move on to check to see whether or not the spawn locations have been set. If they haven't been set, then we're going to forcibly get out of this for loop by, let's see. Oh, wait, okay. I don't need to continue checking through the different sets either. That could potentially be a problem. So, switch pops. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we're basically forcibly breaking out of both of the for loops because like I said, once this has been set, then we don't necessarily need to worry about checking anything else. So we're making this as not a wall, and therefore we're going to go ahead and add it into the list. But hold on, that's a problem. Okay, so I knew I was going to face a problem with this at some point. Okay, so let me try to explain here a little bit. So in the previous checks, so when we're doing this, we're basically nullifying all of the set counts. So this can be a potential problem. I might have different. I might have an in-maze that doesn't have all the set counts combined at the end. Ooh. See, this is the problem with trying to with the I have Kushkal's working correctly. Now I'm with the code and throwing in that little wrench into the middle of it, saying, hey, we're going to use this no matter what. We've now kind of broken the Kushkal's algorithm a little bit to try to make this a reality. And now I have to figure out how to, in a sense, get it back on track. So let's let me give you an example here of why what the problem is here. Okay, so say we have the an enemy city here at this particular location, and we have multiple different sets, right? So we pop out the wall at this particular location. So we might have found this particular set and this particular set in our Kushkal's algorithm. Okay, but we might not have seen this particular set neighbor yet. So once I find that this is a potential spawn point for the enemy city, I'm basically forcing the escape of Kushkal's algorithm, okay, which will end up creating a set out of this, but it completely misses this particular set. So we now have two sets here, even though it should be one. You see what I'm saying? There's a danger here, and I need to figure out how to try to fix that. Let's see. So the potential that I'm seeing right now is maybe I need to let it continue through the process, but I need to guarantee that it still becomes a wall. So I might need to just do like a Boolean flag, like this this is a spawn point, this needs to be set, continue through it no matter what. So instead of doing the breaking out of the for loops, I might need to change it up a little bit, go with a Boolean route, and set the flag if the spawn point needs to be created no matter what. Now, oh, but wait, at the same time, that might be a potential problem as well. So, let me let me let me try to explain it to you here a little bit. So, say we have in Kushkal's algorithm, if you have two values that are in a sense a neighbor and still part of the maze, then you shouldn't add it in. Okay, so my this portion right here that checks to see whether or not, hey, we have a potential of being more than one. We've already established that we have a set count that is equal to one. So because of that, we can't make it a wall. Well, if this was to happen, then technically we don't, it skips out of, it breaks out of the entire process, and you have the, uh, oh boy. Okay, so let me try to show you visually what's going on here. So say this is our map. This is the current maze, okay, with the enemy city here, and we already have established these 2 points part of the maze, right? So we look at this, and it goes through around all the neighbors, okay, to verify whether or not it can be part of the maze, right? So say we check this one, we verify that it is a potential spawn point. We go to this point, we go to these, we go to these 2 points, and we find out that it is indeed um, typically shown as a um, it should remain as a wall. Okay, it shouldn't merge into the maze because of the fact that um, because you have more than one neighbor that's part of the same set, or you have, yeah, more than one neighbor that's part of the same set, it should remain as a wall. But now you have the conflicting argument that, well, technically it should also be a spawn point. Um, the um, if well, it shouldn't really. Well, no. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. That could be a thing. Um, my checks right at the moment are in a set order, set established order. So, for example, if this is the scenario, okay, here's my enemy city, here's the popped wall, and it checks both of these first, basically flagging this as a wall. The boolean is not even set, but it is the potential for being a spawn point. Then this will remain as a wall. Oh, frack. Am I gonna actually have to do all 6 checks no matter what? Hmm. As the map gets larger, I'm trying to minimize down the amount of checks done. If I don't have to deal with, um, checking 6 times to verify, each and every single tile in the maze, then it's it um, it's a positive because I don't have to worry about that many um, that many loops. I mean, it's not exactly ideal anyway because of the sheer amount as the map gets larger. Um, the processing time increases as well. But I mean, it's not that bad per se in the sense that I'm looking at what a maximum of 600 tiles, so processing power is like minimal at best. So I mean, it doesn't really matter all that much. But at the same time, if I want to do something, at maybe if I want to like make like a second version or a third version of this or something like that, and just keep on increasing the size of the maps, or for some reason, then the potential for the processing for each and every single map might just keep increasing over time, and I'm really trying not to have that happen. So what's a good way of cutting through this? How can I protect myself on this? This is a danger, because once it gets down here, it's wanting to try to find all the different sets that it found and try to merge them all into one particular set. So what am I going to do here? I'm not sure. I don't know how to get past this problem. If anyone has any kind of idea as to what I might use, or maybe give me like a different viewpoint that I can probably use to try to get past this particular problem, then I'm all ears. It breaks out if remain wall is a thing. But if it's a neighbor, I don't know if this is the right way of going about doing this or not. There has to be a way to get this to work without forcing these 6 checks. But how? I can't figure out a way to get past this. What's going on here? Whatever. Okay. Um, I can't always the aspect um, the fact that the enemy city spawn point is different based off of uh, the different spawn points is what's kind of throwing this whole process off a little bit. Um, because um, let me kind of change this up a little bit. So say we have let's say we have the enemy spawn point, right? Well, um, the the if you have like the enemy spawn points here, for example, okay, um, the positions of these spawn points change based off of where you're looking on, um, these two tiles that are next to it. See these tiles right here. Okay, um, it's you're looking at a complete circle around the spawn point. So like, let me take these two. I'll put them right there. Take these two. I'll put them right there. It makes a complete circle. So I can't isolate a set pattern to guarantee that I'm looking at the city each and every single time. Um, I was kind of thinking maybe maybe I could set it up so that um, when we're checking when we have one particular wall popped, I'll always check, you know, this particular neighbor up here to verify that it's part of the city, but that doesn't work. So, um, because the popped walls around work for all different neighbors, so there's no set pattern that I can use, um, guaranteed. Hmm. So how do I do this? So let's say I have that, and we pop out these tiles right here. Once again, you're looking at um, the idea of um, each potential neighbor around a popped wall could be part of the same set. So there's nothing that I can do that will guarantee a consistent kind of checks to make sure that um, I check the same amount no matter what. I mean, I could do something like, hey, here's the popped wall. I'm going to check these or something along those lines. But even then, if I check these particular locations and they're already part of one particular set, then it's going to break out. So it won't check these two, for example. Or or even if this particular check right here is um, part of the maze and Kushkal's algorithm, these two will still not get checked based off of what I currently have. I mean, hell, if I check these two and they're actually part of a maze like this, for example, um, then that's four checks gone. So if that was an enemy city, for example, it wouldn't even get to that point. So I need a better method to check this, to make these checks. I'm just not sure. I'm not smart enough right at the moment, or at least I say I'm not smart enough. I don't have the necessary information to come to a quick solution on this right at this point. Doesn't mean that there's one available. There potentially could be. I just don't know of it. So where's the answer in this? Should I just kind of give up and just do all 6 checks no matter what? Set the flag depending on if the um, set the flag and then continue doing the rest of the checks. Is that my? Am I gonna have to just live with that? Hmm. So there's a couple ways of doing this here. Um, Okay, so um, the human city is going to be fine no matter what because it doesn't break out of Kushkal's algorithm. Okay, it flags that particular tile as a potential for being part of the spawn city or part of the spawn location. And if it's not kept as a wall, then it gets added into as a spawn point. Okay, so human cities are fine. There's nothing, no problems there. Um, because it will check all six if it's guaranteed that it's not going to be a wall. Okay, it always checks the six. Okay, it's a wall if two or more checks finds the same set. That's what I'm trying to save is trying to save that two or more. You have the potential for that minimum of only two checks necessary for a wall to remain. But if I want to try to keep that, then I'm going to need to basically move the checks for the enemy cities out, and then redo another for loop all over again in order to do those kind of checks. Try not to, try not to do that though. Let's see. Turn on some light here so you guys can kind of see my face a little bit, I guess. um, Not sure. Oh, I wish I knew. Wish I could kind of kid through the jungle of what I'm trying to look for and find that clearing. Let's see. Um, let's spawn found false. And we're just going to do that. Is equal to true. And then So, all right, let me try to kind of explain this a little bit on that. So um, here's the reason why I'm kind of worried about doing the and doing the breaking out early again. Um, if I break out early, then I won't have all these kind of set up. So let's kind of go back to our example here. So um, so let's say we have our three different sets, right, of potential. Okay, that hey, this is um, so if I found the enemy city in another set and I said, hey, okay, we're gonna merge these around. Okay, where we have two potential sets, right? Or even if if um, or let's say that we didn't even have a third set here. Let's say we just have two, right? So we found the human city. We we break out. Okay, we connect these two pieces into one particular set, but we could have had a potential for, instead of two sets here, we could have had a potential for one set. So if for some reason we look at, say, this piece right here, it's going to check all of its neighbors and it's going to see, hey, this is one set, this is another set. So it's going to potentially open this one up as um, it'll merge all of these together, and now we're having not so much of a great maze at that point. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm looking at here? But it'll merge them together because it's not a part of the enemy city check. So we'll merge them all into one set though. So we'll eventually do that. And this will only happen maybe once in a blue moon. Maybe. And am I really going to have that much of concern over an extra loss of a resource? I'm not sure. Not sure if I really want to do that or not. This has the potential of throwing off the balance a little bit. That's all I'm saying. Um, there might be an imbalance later if this was to occur in some fashion or other. You know, what would normally be a wall becomes a path. Oh wait, what am I doing? Sorry. Yeah, I was looking at this. Hmm. 5 minutes to the party. I might need to go pretty soon here, folks. If this party is going to be starting in about 5 minutes or so, then background noise is going to get kind of going to start climbing, and I don't really want that in my stream. Um, in the end, I don't think it really matters all that much. I mean, we might have some amount of potential balance issues, you know, opening up the areas around the enemy cities a little bit more than intended. Um, and I've seen instances where the Kushkals doesn't combine everything into a single set. I've seen my algorithm leave like a tile or two that isn't connected, which is fine. Um, Mainly it's like due to the cities being cut off, but with my current with what I'm currently working on right at the moment, oh, but wait, the way I have it right now, I'm not actually setting the count. Oh, but no, it will eventually set the count. It will still eventually set the count no matter what, based off of what it currently has. So no matter what, it will add the one particular city to it. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see. See, we're going to do more enemy spawn found. Oh no, wait. No, I just, okay. That tell me. I think as much as I don't really want it to happen, I think this kind of solution where it's two different sets is not going to be the end of the world for me. So But again, we're still stuck with the potential problem of if it checks the two sets first before it can check to see whether or not it's a city. Uh, mm, it breaks out if it says that it's a wall, which will which will completely ruin the potential um, for the spawn point to be set. I might have to do it after the maze has been built. I don't know if there's any. I can't see a way to get around it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do it afterwards. I don't think I can do it in the middle of Kushkal's area. Because no matter which way I look at it, I either have to force the the six checks, no matter what, or I have to come back to checking the area around the enemy cities afterwards anyway. And I was trying to figure out some way of not having to worry about that, but it's looking like there's really no option for me. Um, because I really don't want to have to rewrite everything to allow for um, to basically stop the um, breaking out of the checks. In other words, I want to make sure that I can get um, I want to try to keep the checks to two or more. So if it's a wall, it remains a wall. If I stop that, then you're looking at six checks per 600 tiles. So again, not a not a whole lot of checks. Um, but you also add into the fact that you have the potential of different sets and the amount of checking for the keys for each of those sets. It just keeps on building up, and I'm trying to limit that as much as I can. Um, so it's looking like no matter what, I'm gonna need to try to come. I need to handle the setting of the spawn points after Kushkal's algorithm. I can't see any. Um, I can't see any other option to this. Which makes things a little interesting in that I'm gonna need to do. Um, I'm gonna need to get the hex tiles for um, each of the cities. Get the um, then check its neighbors to see whether or not it has any um, to check to see if it has two resource tiles or not. And if it has two resource tiles for any of the enemy cities, then it needs to get rid of one of them randomly to make a spawn point. The human city is also going to be a little weird because I need to check each neighbor to see whether or not it actually still has a resource tile on it. Yeah. Yeah, I can't do it during the middle of it as much as I might want to. Um, all the roads lead to failure on that, or an explosive amount of overhead um, with the removal of two or more checks. You know, forcing the 6 checks for each and every single tile is not exactly ideal. So let's go ahead and take all of this. And we're going to move it down to set spawns here real quick. I'm just I'm just putting it down here just for placeholder. I'm not I'm not planning on it being um, I don't mean for it to stay the way it is right now. I'm just moving it down there to just kind of restore um, what was originally here. Um, so I don't really need that. Put that down here for the time being. Go ahead and get rid of that. And get rid of this. Get rid of this. And don't need these anymore. And that is everything that I added today. So, okay, so I'm gonna have to do this after everything has been established already. After the mace has already been built. So now I have to figure out how to go ahead and um, I'm going to need to establish the hex tiles for the cities early, so that I can come back to them and set the spawn points accordingly. Hmm. Let's see. Okay, I use these to create the unity to get this this distinct tile down in these particular locations. But I might want to um, have a specific, I guess you might say, pointer to the hex value itself, so that I can refer back to them later. Hmm. Hmm. You know what? Let me do it this way here. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and create the hexed tile versions of these. Um, just so we have a distinct name for each of these tiles. So now we look at this, and we're going to go down to these locations here, and now we're going to put in Twin City hex tile is now equal to X value. Okay. I'm doing it this way so that I can kind of go back to these quickly and be able to look around them to verify that the tiles around can be modified, can be added into the spawn locations for these. So let's see. Um, hmm. Okay, so I'm gonna need to set this up for each one of these here. So now host city hex tiles now equal to hex value. Do that there, do that there. Let's see, now we do goal. City hex tile. City hex tile. There we go. Okay, so now that that's all done, we can copy this for everything else. And we're good there. Okay. So now we have pointers to the specific hex tile for each of these. Now I can use that to my advantage because now I can do something similar to the neighbors down here on Kushell's algorithm. Popping each of the neighbors out, or finding each of the neighbors and checking to see whether or not that neighbor has any to check to see whether or not the resource value at that particular tile is null or not. You can check the resource tile holder at those particular coordinates and see if it's null. If it's not null, then then we know that I can use it as a potential spawn point. If it isn't null, and if it's an enemy city, and it has two popped walls that are still have resources, then I have to do randomization between the two to determine which one of the two needs to be removed and made a spawn point. And for the human city, I need to go through each of the tiles around it, and if it's null, then I need to add it into the list of potential spawns for the human city. Now, I can what I could do is I can give the player a little bit of an option as to where they want the spawn point set, which will be just like a banner, like, hey, instead of all my humans spawning at, 3 different locations, I want them to always spawn at this one particular location. Then that should be something that I can that should be an option for the player. Now they're gonna have to kind of manage the human players to, if for some odd reason, like, if they flag a particular resource that they want to collect, for example, like, hey, I want this tile to be collected upon by the human AI agents, then, and the human AI agents aren't able to get to that, like, it can't find a path to that particular spot, then I'll have to figure out how it will handle that. Will it will it go back into the city and respawn itself to a location closest to the section that needs to be resource gathered? Do I have it search for a resource that is, you know, to the similar resource but at a different location? Or do I have it default to a standard, like, hey, go find a tree and cut it down kind of aspect? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I want to do with that. So that's going to be further down the road, obviously. How to handle the balancing of that. So, okay, it's looking like some people are starting to kind of come in on end there, folks. So might need to pause this until next week. Let me make myself a little note here. Trying to set spawn in middle of Kushkal's algorithm does not work. X tile values have been set for each city use these X tiles to set spawns after the algorithm is complete. Alright. So yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna have to kind of call it here, folks. Like I said, as folks are coming in to my into the house, I'm not gonna be able to do much more than this for now. At least I have a note basically stating, hey, this isn't working correctly. Oh, there we go. So so next week when I can get back to this, then I'll be able to try to figure out what is, try to go straight into the building. So, but yep, that's going to be it for tonight there, folks. So, thank you very much for watching there, folks, and there, strangers. These videos will be posted to my YouTube channel, so check that out. I have linked to my YouTube down below. I also have links to my Discord, my Patreon, and my Twitter account down below on my Twitch channel, as well as in the description of my YouTube videos. So feel free to check those out if you want to. I've been uploading these to my GitHub. So if you want to kind of check out the code on that, then I might start posting my GitHub account to my YouTube videos. Maybe. I mean, I still have them as public, so it's not like no one can see them. But obviously, you probably don't really know where the address is of it. So, and I don't know if I have it set to my YouTube Twitch channel name or not. So, if necessary, if you want to find the GitHub, go to my Discord, contact me there, and we can talk more there if you want. But for now, that's going to be it. So thank you very much for watching. Tomorrow will be my Warframe gameplay Twitch stream. As always, 2 to 6 every single day. So yeah, I think that is going to be it there, folks. So have a good night. Take care, and I'll see you. I'll see you, strangers, tomorrow. If not, next week. Either way is fine. So.